Galatians 4 shows there are two Jerusalems to consider, typified by Abraham's wives, Hagar and Sarah. But Paul's discourse is not just about the two women, but the sons born of each. The women are the covenants, while their children typify those who are born by them. Figuratively speaking, the sons make up the city based on the covenants. Paul is clear. The son of the slave was born according to the flesh, while the son of the free woman was born through promise. Now this may be interpreted allegorically. These women are two covenants. One is from Mount Sinai, bearing children for slavery. She is Hagar. Now Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia. She corresponds to the present Jerusalem, for she is in slavery with her children. But the Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. The first covenant is from Mount Sinai. Therefore, it speaks of the law. This bears children for slavery, for the old covenant law is the letter that kills, the ministry of death and condemnation. Children for slavery. This equates to our time in the wilderness where the law takes precedence. Since the law was given to Israel in the wilderness, and the wilderness is where Babylon is found, then it corresponds to Babylon. But the Jerusalem above is free, and she is our mother. In the illustration of the two great lights, we see that the old covenant correlates with the son of the slave, or one who sows to his flesh, while the new covenant correlates with the son of the free woman, or one who sows to the Spirit. The first applies to the natural and carnal man, while the second to the new creation or spiritual man. The death and resurrection of Christ was the institution of the new covenant, was it not? And what is the promise of this covenant? To put his laws into our minds and write them in our hearts. To be to us our God, and for us to be his people. And what is the difference between the old and new covenants? The first reflects the law, but the second, its spiritual essence, which is love. The reason for the wilderness is to work his love into our hearts, for love does no harm to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. Please reconsider the following. Every commandment which I command you today, you must be careful to observe, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land of which the Lord swore to your fathers. And you shall remember that the Lord your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you and test you to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. So he humbled you, allowed you to hunger, and fed you with manna which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man shall not live by bread alone, but man lives by every word that proceeds from the mouth of the Lord. What is the purpose of the wilderness? To humble us. And why do we need to be humbled? Because pride is the inordinate love of the self, and it is this which brings suffering into our lives and the lives of others, preventing us from loving unconditionally. The wilderness is necessary to strip us of this self-centeredness so that we may bring righteousness, peace, and joy into the present moment. By the way, do you see that Deuteronomy 8:3 is what Jesus quoted to the devil while in the wilderness? When we take a closer look at the Lord's temptation, we see that it correlates with John's assessment of all that is in the world, coinciding with the temptation of Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 3. That Babylon represents Jerusalem is confirmed by the following. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were slain on the earth. Here we read that the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were slain on the earth, are found in Babylon. Compare this to what Jesus said to the scribes and Pharisees. Therefore, indeed, I send you prophets, wise men, and scribes. Some of them you will kill and crucify, and some of them you will scourge in your synagogues and persecute from city to city. that on you may come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the temple and the altar. Assuredly, I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the one who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her, how often I wanted to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you were not willing. See, your house is left to you desolate. To whom was Jesus speaking? Present Jerusalem, that is, Jerusalem in Jesus and Paul's day, Jerusalem under the law. And verse 35 agrees with Revelation 18:24, does it not? What did Jesus tell the scribes and Pharisees? Your house is left to you desolate. It's a wilderness and will remain so. But the law wasn't the problem. It was their pride, their narcissism, their religious arrogance. This is verified by the 23rd chapter of Matthew. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. In our next study, we will consider Revelation 14:8.